Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us again this week. We're going to give it just a moment to let the room fill up before we go ahead and get started. I hope you're all having a wonderful day. Give it just another moment. Okay, good afternoon. Thank you for joining us once again for our weekly Wednesday webinar series. Today's webinar is a highlight on the advancement team with a focus on Giving Tuesday and the importance of end-of-year giving. My name is Alson Murtha, and I'm the Manager of Strategic Communications here at the National Hemophilia Foundation. At any point during the webinar, if you would like to ask a question, please use the Q&A feature at the bottom of your screen. If you're streaming on one of our social media platforms, you can go ahead and drop your questions in the chat or the comments. We will make sure to present them to our speakers after their presentation. This webinar is being recorded and will be available to the community beginning Friday, December 2nd. I am joined today by Brett Spitali, Maureen Parsons, and TC Hutcherson. I am on the advancement team with them, so I'm super excited to have them all here. Thank you guys for taking the time to join us today. I'll turn it over to you to get started.
Great. Thanks so much, Alson. Appreciate it. And thank you everyone for joining us. Again, my name is Brett Spitali. My title at the organization is the the Vice President of Advancement at the National Hemophilia Foundation. I'm going to talk a little bit about the advancement team and what we do. If you can advance the slide. But first, of course, we always start with our mission. I won't read this verbatim. I believe, hopefully, everyone is familiar with it. If you can, next slide. And of course, our strategic imperatives for 2022 as well, too, falling under access, our chapters, innovation, organization, sustainability, and vision. Go on. And at the center of everything is our mission, of course. And we are surrounded by our future therapies, where these are our priority action teams inside of NHF, digital health, mental health, and von Willebrand disease. Let's talk a little bit about our advancement team. We're broken down into a couple of different departments. One first is our communications and marketing team. Anything that you see that is outward facing, whether it's HemoWare magazine, all of our email blasts, our email communication, all of our websites that you see, databases, press releases, anything that is really outward facing is handled by our communications and marketing team. Our communications and marketing is headed up by Alana Ostrin, who's our Senior Director of Communications, Marketing, and Public Relations, and Jay Patel, who's the Senior Director of Digital Marketing. And they handle their team handle a lot of the majority of the communications for us here at NHF and our marketing and our public relations. That's our outreach to news sources. Our development and corporate relations team. I'm joined today by Maureen Parsons, who's Director of Individual Giving, and TC Hutcherson as well too, who's our new Senior Director of Corporate Relations. Anything that we do that doesn't have to do with our pharmaceutical funding is done through our development and corporate relations team. So Maureen and her team handles things like our peer-to-peer fundraising programs. So anything that you see with the marathon program, half marathon program, all of our field day, which is new this year, which I'm sure Maureen will touch on as well too. Major donor fundraising, individual giving, that's all done through Maureen and her team. TC, who is brand new to the team, I can't really say that for too much longer, TC, but she's been with us for a few months now. And one of the things that we haven't really had a large enough focus on, in my opinion, was our corporate relations, or having, building relationships with the corporate America. And we brought TC in a few months ago, and she's hit the ground running, and has some plans that she plans to talk about as well too. I will let her touch on that as well. And recently, our external affairs department, over the past year, has come into the advancement team here. So our external affairs is anything that has to do with our with our pharmaceutical partners, and managing those relationships, making sure that we're working with them the best way we possibly can. And we handle those relationships. We're the first point of contact, and we work with our officers and our vice presidents and our other directors to be able to make sure that things are being delivered on, and we're working creatively inside of with our pharmaceutical partners. You can go to the next slide. I think I just wanted to give a quick overview there, and I'll turn it to Maureen now.
Perfect. Thank you, Brett. My name is Maureen Parsons, and as Brett mentioned, I'm the Director of Individual Giving. Before I dive into the end of year campaign, I did want to highlight a couple recent initiatives and events that we had. The first is our Red Tie Soiree. It's our annual fundraising gala. Historically, we've hosted it in New York, and the last couple of years have been virtual. We were excited to host it in San Francisco this year. It was our first on the West Coast and first time back in person since 2019. The soiree is an opportunity to celebrate and honor our community. We give out a couple of awards. This year, we honored Karen Fulton Holline and Leah Ogden Adams with the Ambassador Award for the work they've done in starting the Jason Fulton Fund, which is named in memory of Karen's son, Jason, who passed away when he was 24 from complications of HIV due to contaminated blood products. Although he received his HIV diagnosis, he still was determined to live a full and happy life. He attended Fresno State University, mentored other kids in his community with hemophilia, and really didn't let the limitations hold him back. And so Karen and Leah have continued his legacy with starting the Jason Fulton Fund, which supports our National Youth Leadership Institute, or NYLI program, which is set forth to inspire the next generation of leaders in our community. We also had the opportunity to honor John Cunningham with the Inspiration Award. John is the CEO of the National AIDS Memorial Grove and has been a tremendous partner over the last several decades, specifically with the Surviving Voices Project, which gives a voice to people in our community and a space for them to heal. The Hemophilia Memorial Circle at the National AIDS Grove is truly a beautiful place and an opportunity to remember those we've lost. In addition to the honorees, we also feature a family. So I want to give the opportunity for everyone to hear from Maggie and Lucas Taylor and their story. This is the family that we featured at this year's soiree.
Hi, I'm Lucas, and I am Teddy's dad.
I'm Maggie, and I am Teddy's mom. Our son, Teddy, is 19 months old, and he has severe hemophilia type A.
We had no family history of hemophilia at all, and we were kind of having a discussion after he was born if we wanted to get him circumcised or not. We thought everything was going to be going smoothly and everything was going to be fine, and he was bleeding as any normal kid does for a little bit after a circumcision, and the bleeding just kind of continued and continued and continued.
His whole birth experience was pretty traumatic. It was an emergency C-section. The hospital we were in at first was just like a small, mainly like birthing hospital. They were brand new. They've never seen this before, and the nursing staff told us that. They were like, we've never seen something like this before, like this is not normal. So obviously to new parents, that's not what you want to hear. It was just very overwhelming, scary. I think we both kind of felt alone. Teddy was born in Irvine, California, and when he was 6 months old, we moved to Jackson Hole, Wyoming. When you're living in California, you have resources like a mile down the road from you. In Wyoming, it's a little bit different. In California, Teddy was actually not the only severe hemophiliac, and in Jackson, he is the only severe hemophiliac. We had to interview a few pediatricians to actually take them on his caseload. But we love our pediatrician. She's so helpful, so resourceful, and our emergency room is on board and they know exactly what to do. They've all seen Teddy, unfortunately, a few too many times, but they know when we walk in through the door exactly what to do.
Teddy is obviously our first child. He's definitely energetic. He's just kind of crazy. He's flying off the walls. He's just a very, very happy kid as well.
So he's very active, of course, but also just with like the treatments and all of the hospital visits, he's very brave. He's just a sweet, sweet kid. One of the biggest challenges is actually getting the medication that he needs every month. Some months I spent hours and hours on the phone getting bounced around from different pharmacies, and then also with my insurance. It's very time consuming. It's so confusing as the way they bill one product versus another. One is a medical benefit, one's a pharmaceutical benefit. It's kind of disheartening a little bit when you know your son needs this medication and it's like almost impossible to get some months.
Soon after Teddy was diagnosed with hemophilia, we got put in contact with a local family in California through the hemophilia treatment center that we were at. It gave us a great picture of not only connecting with the community, but also what options we had to kind of deal with Teddy's hemophilia.
Just like knowing that other parents are also going through what we're going through, and this family that we had met has gone through it 3 times, has been so helpful and just reassuring for us.
Looking into the future, we are super hopeful for people with bleeding disorders to kind of live that full life, and that can only be made possible by the support of the communities.
I think just the NHF and our local chapter and our HCC have been a great support for Lucas and I. I look forward to Teddy actually taking that opportunity to find that support, to go to a camp, to meet other boys his age who also have a bleeding disorder, and just kind of learning how to take care of his own treatment, I think will be very empowering for him one day. One of the biggest obstacles for us is just kind of like the misconception about severe hemophilia, I think is huge. You have some people that think it's a death sentence, and you have some people that kind of just brush it under the rug and don't think it's a big deal. And the only way that Lucas and I had the confidence to become advocates for Teddy is just the community around like everything. Our HTC, NHF, all the moms that I text, meeting other families that have sons with severe hemophilia. And I'm just really extremely grateful for everyone in this community.
So I think Maggie and Lucas's story highlight on a few things that many of our families struggle with in terms of newly diagnosed families or families that don't know of any previous history. One thing NHF tries to do is connect new families to the resources and support they need as quickly as possible, knowing the questions that come to mind to a mom and dad when they first hear that their son or daughter has a bleeding disorder. Also thinking about rural areas, we're committed to trying to connect families in rural areas to care. So our staff at NHF had the opportunity to speak to the hospital staff in Maggie and Lucas's community about the care he would need if he were to have an injury and need to go to the hospital. And so all of that is made possible by the support through the soiree, as well as our end of year campaign and the other initiatives we have going on throughout the year. The next thing I want to highlight is Giving Tuesday. So yesterday was Giving Tuesday. It's a global day of generosity that happens the Tuesday after Thanksgiving, following Black Friday and Cyber Monday. We have coined it Giving Shoes Day the last few years as a way to promote the custom Nike and Converse sneakers that you hopefully have seen on our social media and website. It's been very popular. We set a goal of $20,000 and raised over $25,000. So want to thank everyone that had the opportunity to support the campaign. If you missed out, there's still an opportunity. You can visit hemophilia.org/Giving Tuesday. I'll also put it in the chat and still have a chance to get your pair of shoes. These are great conversation starters in your local communities to be able to share about your personal connection and what it means to live with a bleeding disorder. also want to thank Takeda for their support in our Walk in Our Shoes campaign that makes the custom shoes possible. Next, I want to dive into our end of year giving campaign. So November and December is the busiest time for our department. It is an opportunity to reach out to the community to help us finish the year strong and meet our goals for the year. Brett talked about the strategic imperatives and priority action areas at the top of the webinar. And under the leadership of Dr. Valentino and our senior officers, you can see we really have a clear vision in where we are headed and steps to help us do that. But we can't do it without your support. So we are committed to serving every individual living with an inheritable bleeding disorder. And we believe in equitable access and care, and that your race, gender, background, geographical location shouldn't play a role in the care that you receive. So I think it's amazing how far we have come in the last few decades, but we know there are people out there that don't have the resources and support and access to care that they need. And so that is where the entire community comes in to help. So here are a few ways to support the end of year campaign, which is supporting some of the initiatives we achieved this year, including the All Co-Pays Count Coalition. We hosted our first ever Health Equity Summit, and as well as the work we're doing with the National Research Blueprint, which will be published next year. So first and foremost is to donate before the end of the year by December 31st. Truly a gift of any size helps us reach our goal for the year. You can visit our website, hemophilia.org, and give through the button at the top of the page. Another opportunity is to host a fundraiser. So we have many people out in the community that host fundraisers on Facebook for NHF, as well as through our platform, Unite Your Way. You'll have the opportunity to create a page and customize it to share your story, your connection to the community, and why you want to support individuals and families living with an inheritable blood disorder. After you create your page, you can share it with friends, family on social media, and ask them to support you as well. And it's an opportunity not only to raise funds, but also awareness for NHF and our community. We also have fun incentives as you hit each fundraising milestone, including our favorite custom shoes. So another great way to get involved, and I will put the link for the Unite Your Way platform in the chat as well. Next is to become a Promise Partner. So Promise Partners are part of our monthly giving program. And so it's an opportunity to break up your gift throughout the year. So whether it's $5, $10, $25 per month, these are our most loyal donors and creating a sustainable impact for those we serve. Finally, simply sharing our social media posts or website articles, sharing our mission with people in your network. I think being a very rare disorder, there are still a lot of people that don't know NHF or what it means to live with an inheritable blood disorder. And so I think the first step in supporting is to really raise awareness and educate the general population so that they understand the need for financial support as well. Next, I am going to turn it over to TC.
Thanks, Maureen. Hey, everyone. I'm TC Hutcherson, Senior Director of Corporate Relations, and I'm going to share with you a few ways that you can partner with your employer to raise funds for NHF. So if you work for a corporation, not in a hospital or a university or a nonprofit or the government, but for a corporation, any donation that you make, any financial contribution that you make to a charitable organization qualifies as employee giving. And so what does that mean? So I'm sure many of you are familiar with a community relations team or department or a corporate social responsibility department. And often those departments have matching giving programs. And what that means is, as an example, if I work for Google and I were to donate $100 to NHF, and Google has a matching program that's dollar for dollar, then that means that gift would be doubled to $200, $100 from my personal gift, and $100 from the corporation. And so a lot of corporations have matching gifts that are dollar for dollar, 1-to-1 match, a 2-for-1, 2-to-1 match, excuse me, a 3-to-1 match, and even sometimes a 4-to-1 match. And so this is another way for you to kind of maximize or expand your giving that you're providing to NHF. In terms of who to contact, you may have, like I mentioned, a community relations department or a corporate social responsibility department. I would contact them. Another person to think about is if your organization has like an annual toy drive or like a clothing drive, a coat drive at the end of the year. That person may be someone to kind of help you guide you in the right direction. And if all else fails, I would just contact your HR rep, and they can kind of provide you with more information about your particular organization's matching giving program. But you can also reach out to me, and I can kind of help guide you through that process. And I'll provide my contact information at the end of the deck. And the last thing I want to kind of chat with you all about is corporate sponsorships. So if your corporate, if your company partners with local charities to provide grants or event sponsorship, you can kind of be an internal advocate for NHF and kind of throw your name in the hat in terms of wanting to highlight NHF and the great work that we're doing. So that's another way that we can kind of partner with corporations. And again, I'm happy to kind of walk you through that process also. So I'm going to share my contact information at the end of the deck, and we can kind of move forward with that.
So the last thing we wanted to highlight before we open it up for questions is that next year is a very big year for NHF and the community. We will be celebrating our 75th anniversary. So there is a big announcement about the anniversary coming next week, so stay tuned. But just wanted to let everyone know there'll be opportunities to celebrate all throughout the year starting in January. And that's all we have for today.
Happy to field any questions if you've got any there, Alison.
Yeah, definitely. Let me go ahead real quick and share my screen just for a quick announcement. Oops, I'm sorry. Okay. Recruitment is now open for the Own Your Path program. It's a program for young adult males with hemophilia who are currently in the transition years between 18 and 30. We know that maintaining adherence to a prophy regimen can have short and long-term health benefits. This program focuses on helping participants be successful by focusing on education, health coaching, skill building, and relationship building, all within an app-based environment that includes participation incentives. If you have patients in this age range and think it would be a good fit, email us at ownyourpath, all one word, at hemophilia.org, and we can send you the flyer to share. For our consumers, you can email us directly at the same email address, ownyourpath@hemophilia.org, and we can provide more information or register you for the program. Okay, so for our questions, let's see. If you, like I said, if you do have any other questions, you can drop them in the chat or in the Q&A, in the comments, however you see fit. How can we host an event in our community?
I can take that one. So we work with volunteers throughout the year that host events in their local community, whether it be a game night or maybe a dinner party. We work with our volunteers to host all sorts of different events. And so you can reach out to our team and we'd be happy to work with you on that and provide as much support as you need in the planning process. So whether it's helping with marketing materials, setting up a page on Unite Your Way to do collect donations, anything you need help with, we're able to support you in hosting an event in your local community.
And the websites that we have set up, Maureen, are fairly easy to do that, to go in there and they walk you through step by step, correct?
Yep, very easy. You can create a page in less than a few minutes.
Okay, If there is anything you want us to walk away with today, what would that be? The most important thing.
I could start. I think that, for me, our advancement team is a pretty big team inside of NHF. A lot of responsibility, but a lot to be able to get back to the community as well too. So I do, there are a lot of the opportunities that TC and Maureen hit on as well too. But beyond that, there's awareness opportunities that are being taken on by our communications team as well. Some social opportunities. We would ask that everyone please share our messages as much as you possibly can. We don't want to have a one-way dialogue with anyone in our in the community. So talk back to us. Use those social platforms. Engage with us as much as you possibly can. But there's always I think Maureen said it a couple of times. We certainly couldn't do what we do without you. We couldn't raise the awareness. We couldn't have the programming. And we couldn't serve the community like we do without you and without your help. So any way that you feel as though you can support the organization, if you feel as though so inclined, please do. And I know the QR code is up there, but there are other ways as well too. Visit the website and engage, please.
Great, thank you.
And I would just,
sorry, Maureen, go ahead.
No, you're okay. I would just add that really no impact is too small. There is no small gift or small way to support the organization. It really all adds up. We have very ambitious goals as we look into the 75th anniversary, and we really need everyone's support. And so every gift, every volunteer hour, every shared post really helps us in moving the needle forward.
And TC, I don't want to speak for you, but I will say that, TC, her position is new to the organization. And I'm certain that anyone out there that has any ideas, feel free to reach out to TC. She's very engaging and willing to sit down and listen and work with anyone. If you have an opportunity at your organization that you currently work at, I'm sure TC would be more than happy to hear from you, have a conversation with you.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think there are ways to get your corporation involved outside of the ones that we've currently been using. And if there's even an event that you attended at maybe another organization, another company that you would like to start or launch at yours, definitely happy to partner with you to create that so we can raise awareness in your particular local community.
Great, thank you. Is there a minimum donation amount we need to make when we're a monthly donor?
Maureen, you want to take that?
Yeah, there is no minimum donation amount to be a Promise partner.
And where do our donations go?
Great question. We pride ourselves as an organization. The standard in the nonprofit world is anywhere between 70 and 75% of the donation goes towards what that donor intended that donation to go for. We are closer to the 80% mark, just over, and that's something that we're very prideful of. So a lot of our donations are really, that they come from a donor wherever the donor intends that to go. You'll see a little drop-down menu where it goes on the donation page. You could support, the area of greatest need. You could support our public policy efforts. You could support our education efforts. So wherever you intend that to go, that's where we put that donation. Or anything to add to that?
I would just say the website is a great resource to see all of the different programs. There's so many things that NHF does to support the community. And so Brett touched on the NHF Fund, which includes research, education, and advocacy. But even thinking about our recent health equity initiatives, serving women with bleeding disorders, the National Research Blueprint being posted next year, our work with the All Copays Count Coalition. As Brett shared, where you want to support, we honor that. And so please reach out if you have questions about a specific program. We'd be happy to answer those. And the website also highlights all of the programs within each of those kind of buckets with the NHF fund.
Great, thank you. Where is the soiree going to be next year?
Great question. It's like, where's Waldo, right? We've decided to, we've been in in New York City for the longest time. I think when we went virtual, when COVID hit, we realized that, like a lot of other organizations, that we don't have to be in one area all the time. We have families and donors and partners and all over the country, all over the world. We wanted to be able to share that celebration with some of the other communities, which is why we made the decision before the pandemic hit to move to kind of take it on as a roadshow, really, and hosted in other communities. We started with San Francisco. We have a great chapter out there, Northern California chapter, and some great support out there. So the pandemic hit, we had to wait, and then we were finally able to do it this year, and it was wildly successful. Had a wonderful time out there, and our hosts were incredible. In 2023, we're looking at the Chicago area, another area where we have a great chapter, a lot of support, and that's what we're looking at right now in Chicago. We're going to be doing some site visits here shortly. Maureen, anything to add to that?
No, I think knowing that we do have support all across the country, we're excited to move the soiree around to be able to celebrate in person in different cities.
Awesome. And will we be able to participate in the soiree virtually next year?
Yes, there will be a few different opportunities to participate virtually. Our silent auction is one way that you can participate. We'll launch the silent auction before the event, and you'll be able to bid on items throughout the event. We'll also have a table captain opportunity, whether you're in person or not. You can set up a page to engage your friends and family in supporting the event locally. I also know virtually some people hosted dinner parties the night of soiree to celebrate with their community, and it was an opportunity for them to share their story and also about their connection to NHF. And so it was kind of like a mini soiree locally. And so that's a great way to use the virtual table captain opportunity as well.
Awesome. If I host an event in my community, should I contact my local chapter?
So it really depends on how you want to set up the event. We've worked closely with our chapters on kind of joint events. The chapters are also a great resource if you want to work directly with the chapter, and we can also help connect you to your local chapter. And I think also thinking about what you want your fundraiser to support. If it's local efforts on the ground or camp education dinners for people in your local community, we'd love to set you up locally with your chapter. There's also opportunities at the national level with our research initiatives or health equity initiatives, or it could be split. We've done events where the donor or volunteer that hosted the event wanted some funds to stay local to support the families in their community, but also wanted to support research as well. So it's really up to the individual and family that want to host the event and how they want the funds to be used.
Wonderful. That is all that I have for you guys today for my questions. But before we sign off, I want to just one more time, if anyone has anything else they'd like to ask, you can go ahead and drop it in the Q&A. And while we give everyone a moment, do you guys have anything else you'd like to share before we sign off?
With the holidays coming up here, just wish everyone a happy holiday. I hope you had a wonderful break and upcoming break here. Again, it's never too late to give. Please, of course, be generous at the, towards the end of the year here. And we wish everyone a happy holiday.
Fantastic. Well, thank you. Oh, go ahead, Cece.
no.
I'm so sorry.
No, I was just saying thank you all for attending today. That's all.
Awesome. Thank you. Well, thank you three again for taking the time to join us this afternoon. We appreciate your time and your expertise. I'd like to thank each one of our viewers for joining us as well. Please note that this recorded webinar will be available on Friday, December 2nd at hemophilia.org under the events tab with all of our archived webinars. Also available in the events tab is our upcoming schedule for our weekly Wednesday webinar series. Thank you for joining us this afternoon and have a wonderful week.
Thanks, everyone.